Welcome back to the Sort of Truth podcast, the chapter by chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a clucking craft brew on the side. I'm Jade, and I'm here with Nate and Ron. And on this episode, we are pecking away at chapter 2 of Soul of the Fire.
Hi, I'm Ron.
Hello, I'm Nate.
Oh my goodness! Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, how we doing today, guys?
We were begging you to do the accent for the intro, and I still wasn't expecting you to do it.
I lost the song. Beforehand, I was doing it in more of like a songy way, but I lost my melody, so I just had to go with the accent.
Yeah, I think you embraced the cluckin' craft brew on the side. I think you rallied around cluckin', and I think it was great.
Thank you.
I give it a perfect 3 out of 5. Wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you. Well, we're talking about chickens, so
Chickens. The main thing is, are we though?
maybe. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out.
Nothing's real.
So before we get into that, we should have our little moment of truth. Is there any bullshit we want to get into before we start our chapter? Anything since the last time we've been together?
I can't think of anything.
Wow. Well, we have been on this podcast for over 5 years now. I know that we had a little post about that because we passed our little anniversary. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got a little bit of love.
We did the skit for the end of Dead of Bones, and then that had been in my head, and then I was, it was the day, and I was like, holy shit, today's the day we were talking about. It's fucking 5 years.
Yeah, it was our kid's birthday, which reminded you of the podcast. Yes.
It's a significant day.
Yes,
yeah.
For one reason more than the other.
No, I was aware that it was my son's birthday. I had already had that. That was already handled. It was after that.
Yes.
Then you got to take care of the podcast stuff. My other child, who is now 5.
Unfortunately, I do think that it is canon that you on the podcast have said, yes, it's my son's birthday, but more importantly,
Wow.
I believe we could go back and reference that if we need to. I can pull up the tapes.
I showed him that, and he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he also told me he doesn't listen to the podcast, so we're
fuck him
fine.
then. Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah. Kids aren't worth anything.
I didn't say that.
I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you and how happy I was to have so many friends for 5 years. That's crazy to me that some of these people have been in our life for 5 years now.
Yeah. There's quite a few people who we refer to regularly, just first name basis, because we've known them after they've, followed our Facebook page or become a patron for so long. Some of these people we've known since very nearly the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good.
Well, it's nice good for you and I specifically, Jade, because it's easy to tell how long we've been friends. Because I actually listened to the podcast before I ever met you for the first time, but time-wise, it roughly is the same.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like, oh, how old's the podcast? How long have we been friends?
Yeah.
And then some hours on top of that, right?
And then a few hours on
because
top,
you told Jade that you had known her for like, I don't know what it was, 30 hours at this point. Yeah.
I think you guys had done all of like Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter by then, and were into the first Sort of Truth. Because you and I worked together. Yep. And then, and I was like, oh, Jay, I think you said nice to meet you. And I was like, I already know you.
We're already friends. And I was
I'm already friends with you, Jade. Like this friendship is already established. You just didn't know it yet.
And now we're 5 years officially in. That's crazy to me.
Feels longer, doesn't it? I mean, what?
Yeah, it does. Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up. Again, thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We love you all very much. And I feel comfortable saying that because it's been 5 years.
Yeah, they've been asking. They've been wondering why you haven't said it back yet.
Yeah, that's I had to wait until I felt it was the right time.
Good,
About 5 years.
It feels right. I think it feels right.
This is about how long it took for me to say it to you, right, Nate?
Yeah, I think 5 years.
We were already a kid in.
Just maybe a comment or two per week for 5 years straight.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, love you. Yeah, you're all right.
Well, the chapter opens with Caitlin and Richard.
We're back to chapters. I just think that's really neat. Okay, continue.
Yes, it is neat. And they are together and happy, except they're outside realizing that the chicken is dead. And surmising what may have caused that. Probably a hawk or some bullshit like that.
Now, this chicken is directly outside the door.
It's what it
not
sounds
like
like.
In the middle of the street, some feet away. It was like you open the door and it's on your doormat, kind of.
That's what I got. Like, if you weren't paying attention, you would step on it.
Almost as if the chicken was placed there so that when the people that exited came out, they would see the chicken. I've been messing around because we talked about chickens and the symbolism and stuff like that. Is this just like nearby there was a dead chicken and it's kind of freaky because it was inside the circle? Or is it like, no, it was right outside the door? Because throughout this chapter, they obsess about this chicken a little bit. And depending on where it was could change the significance for me. If it was halfway in the street, I'd be like, that's a dead chicken. Oh man, that's weird. If it was directly in front of my door, I'd be like, this is my fucking day. Someone's trying to send me a message. That's where I'm coming from.
I got the vibe. It was in doormat vicinity.
There was a wall. Like, it sounds like there is a wall around the spirit house. I guess it's probably a short wall, you know?
Okay.
And it was on the other side of the wall.
Oh, so maybe more like 10 feet, 10, 15 feet away from the opening of the tent.
Okay.
So down the walkway.
Richard gestured behind. Caitlin glanced over the wall, and in the midst of the scattered feathers lay a bloody carcass.
Okay.
Okay. So we're thinking this is closer to out in the street then.
Yeah.
I was thinking front steps.
Maybe not out in the street, but like you have your building here, right? I know you can't see this, people, because this is an audio medium, but picture there's a square, right?
Okay.
That's your building. And then you have like the front doors. I'm thinking there's like a small, low fence or wall around either just the front yard, quote unquote, of the building or the whole building itself.
Kind of like an old churchyard.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily in the street. It's like just outside the building. Because that wall is not going to be like, you're not going to have a giant yard for the spirit house. It's going to be within a few feet of the building.
It's mostly decorative.
Yeah,
you know, it's like 2.5 feet tall. Yeah.
So there's an opening in this wall where there's a door? Or something like that?
Probably a gate.
Or maybe not even a gate. Maybe there's just an opening.
Just an opening.
In the walkway so people can come through.
Okay, if the chicken was right by that, then it's significant. Then it was placed there on purpose. We'll get to it here in a little bit. They kind of discuss what they think might have killed it. But depending on what that was, like if it's by a door, is probably a person. If it was an animal, then it could just be randomly along the wall somewhere. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been left there to be seen.
Yeah.
Well, luckily Richard's a woods guide, and I'm sure we'll give this crime scene the due process it deserves.
I was a little surprised that he didn't like lift the chicken and kind of see what had happened to it at all. He was like, oh, must have been an animal.
Yeah. Which is wild because it's like, I know, all I'm going to say is this. If sometime soon there is another potential crime scene and Richard gives that crime scene the same amount of attention he gives this crime scene, I'm probably going to reference this moment. All I'm saying is this feels wildly out of character for Richard.
Isn't there a thing you're not supposed to touch dead birds, though?
What?
Do you think that they knew that then?
I don't know. I feel like that's something I was told when I was little.
I feel like that's also... Sick? Yeah, I feel like that's also like
probably,
dead birds in the road you shouldn't touch because you don't know what they're carrying.
Well, this is
a murdered chicken, though. I feel like different animals have different ways of attacking animals. So, like, there's...
That's true.
There should be some kind of tells. I don't know.
There was a little bit of research, and I think it was like owls have been known to just swoop in and do a quick beheading for chickens. Raccoons sometimes behead chickens. But now that we've got a better layout, I don't think it's a raccoon, because I don't think that's a chain link fence. That's a wall. And raccoons need to pull to behead chickens. So
see, we keep mentioning beheading.
Yeah.
I just don't know that we have beheading proof.
Interesting. I could have swore it was in the books that it was beheaded. I guess to Richard's point, like, hey, it's a chicken carcass. Something killed the chicken, it was eating it, and then it heard a loud noise and ran.
Whatever, just chicken.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But even then, it seems like Richard would kind of be like, with all the guards we have posted around, like, a fox got through completely unknown, like in a world of magic where maybe a fox isn't a fox or something. We just let that go, I guess. All right.
In a moment here,
yeah,
Kara does come on up because she was just a little ways away to give them some privacy. So no, and she would not have let anybody come close. This is her whole fucking purpose to be there.
Yeah,
and
this is their wedding night. Like they're being guarded by not only the Mordsith, but the Mud People as well. There's nothing supposed to get into this circle, which I guess would also stand to reason why it stuck out.
Yeah, this is why Richard is being weird about it. Not that, like, we're talking about him not inspecting the chicken, but that to your point about there are people watching that's why Richard is so fucking weird about it. He knows it wasn't Zed. He knows it wasn't the kids fucking with the chickens. It was something weird, and it's strange. But
and their guards
let it go.
Are categorically the hardest core of guards. And so their people, like, it's been described several times. These people live to do their job and to make sure their duty is done. So, like, we know they were being vigilant. We know they weren't just sleeping while they're supposed to be keeping watch. They were doing their shit, and nobody saw this.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they surmise that it must have been Kara that scared the thing away when she went to go look because she heard something.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. Like we said, if it was an animal, animals eat when they're comfort or when they're comfortable, you know? So, yes, if all of a sudden Kara was doing her German Shepherd lap and came back around to this area, then, yeah, you know, fox or whatever, an owl would get spooked and fly up back into the trees, come back later.
Yeah.
Back when it's safe. So, yeah. I could see if it's an animal, you kind of just, I digress.
Yeah. I was just thinking if an animal was scared off, the other guards might then hear that and be able to confirm that, yeah, something ran off into the woods that way.
I guess we'll have to see what the guards say.
Well, before they go talk to anybody else, they tell Kara that they're going to go plan on taking a little bath. We're going to go take a little moment for ourselves. And Kara's like, hey, I will come with you. I'll wash your back. I'm down for that. And there is a large, just real quick, this chapter and the next chapter, there is a large part that's just the exposition bullshit that we all know. So, like, right here, there's just a really large chunk about Kara and Richard and Mordsith and all this that we all know. We've known for fucking 4 books, so we're not going over it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird move to do giant recaps in book 5.
Yeah.
If you need a refresher, just read that little snippet of the book and then go to our podcast episode on that chapter and you'll be all set.
There you go.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, Richard tells her that she's going to wash. Nope. Richard tells her that he's going to watch her back. Fuck.
She tells Richard.
Richard tells Kara. No. Yeah, I'm right. Richard tells Kara that he will. God damn it. Richard tells Kara that she will watch his back, not wash his back.
There you go. Yeah.
Fucking nailed it.
First try.
When she turns that into a sex joke too, he goes,
yeah.
Nope, you're staying here. Never mind.
I take it back.
You can't even fucking come anymore at all.
Kara is an uncomfortable level of ride or die for these two. You need to wash your dick? I'll help.
I'll lift it up.
It is funny to me that it was mentioned how Kaylin is like totally fine with these jokes being overtly sexual between Kara and Richard because everything is on the up and up here, right? There's no foul play happening, but it actually flusters Richard that much when somebody fucks with like, ooh, that's a sexy joke. He gets upset by it, and Kaylin knows that. I think that whole thing is great.
Yeah, I think that's why Kaylin likes it, because she's like, it makes you uncomfortable, so it's funny. So I know that it's not something that you're comfortable. Like, it's a fun little thing.
Yeah, Richard's got his temper, but also, like, Richard could be known as Richard with the unease, because there's a lot of situations. I guess I shouldn't say around Kalen. There's a lot of situations where he appears uneased, but honestly, there's not a lot that really shakes Richard. Like, yeah, he'll get angry, but otherwise, he's a pretty calculated, reserved guy. Maybe reserve's not the right word because with the temper.
But
yeah, to be able to see Richard like slip up and be like, no, you're not washing my back. No, stop. No, you will be 35 feet away in the woods.
Turn to the other way.
Yeah. Don't even think about looking.
And you got to put your hands like this.
So Kara is like, I'm going to follow you at a distance then. And the hunters from the village end up, they're like hiding in the shadows. So they didn't even know they were there and they just like appear behind, around them.
Yeah, which was cool as fuck.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This is like the emperor and empress now too. So like, there was no chance you were going alone. That was never going to happen.
Hey, we need to be alone in this room. Got it. You will be alone in the room. We're going to have 50 people outside the door.
Exactly. And cameras and mics all live.
Yes.
And I mean, okay, you can sympathize with being like, we want to have alone time. We just got married. But also, you've been together for how long? How much bullshit has happened to you randomly? Richard doesn't have his sword and you're going out into the wilds just like to go get butt fucking naked and hang out in a fucking pool. Yeah, it's probably not the best idea for you to be by yourselves. So, no, probably not.
That's why I like Kara. She only listens if she deems it important. So they're like, we're going alone. And she's like, yeah, okay, but I'm still coming.
Like alone with everybody else won't come with us.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I'll be 50 feet back, but I'll still be there.
Well, you know where they possibly could do stuff like this? In like a palace.
Yeah.
Where there's maybe a courtyard you can shut down and be like, hey, no one in or out, including you guards.
With like
100%.
rooms and doors and stuff?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have gone to the mud people. They did. That was very nice. But to your guys' point, you did choose to go here, and now you're surrounded by guards because this is very close to enemy territory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck. I didn't even think about
100%.
that.
Yeah,
whoa.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this. Is that back in Aidendrill, this would be fine.
Yeah.
You could be super annoyed at everybody for being up your ass.
You can go out.
Yeah.
You can go to the pond. Whatever.
Yeah, but
sure.
you're here, and you don't even have. He has a fucking dagger. That's all the fuck Richard has. So,
But he remembered it.
Which good for him.
Yeah.
Normally he
remembered it.
doesn't.
good for him. You know what I think we should do to celebrate that he has his knife on him?
I can't possibly think of something we should do.
Well, I think we should have a drink in his honor.
Hell yeah.
That's a good idea.
We're going to have a little beer break, and we'll be back right after this.
Nate, what are we drinking today?
Today we are drinking raspberry creamsicle.
Raspberry.
That's God here. I am forever fucking cursed by raspberry. This is a creamy twist on our beloved M43 recipe. It's gonna fuck. Raspberry creamsicle M43 is lactose free and bursting with fruity goodness from the addition of premium natural raspberry and vanilla flavors.
It sounds quite good.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It smells quite good.
There's a whole other thing down here, guys.
Oh boy.
Saying farewell to summer is never easy, so do it in style with an Old Nation brew in your hand. Had nothing to do with the beer, but okay, cool. We got it in there.
Neat.
This is a nice, relaxing beer. Nothing's too crazy. I'm not getting anything too strong one way or another. I got a little raspberry. I got a little cream. I got my hops.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I really
it is
like
an IPA.
this. This is delicious.
I feel like there's a good balance between the raspberry and the hops. I honestly enjoy this one. This is an IPA, I'll say, that I genuinely like.
Yeah, I mean, I like all IPAs for the most part, and I like this one a little bit more.
I like this one more than most. It didn't make my mouth do the thing.
I know exactly what you mean.
That's what, everyone does, because that's what IPAs do to you. It
Mhm.
didn't make me do that, so that gets a star.
What? Okay, one is that one out of
One
No.
of the
10?
stars.
Is that your rating?
No.
One of the stars
Or
is
it's
for
like
that.
It just gets a star. Like you get a
honorable
star
mention.
on your paper when you
Okay.
when your teacher is like, you did a good job. But I'm not going to give you a better grade.
There's a grade, but you also get a sticker.
Yeah.
What about a rating? What do you think you'd give it out of
8 raspberries.
8 raspberries?
That's pretty good. That's
For an
very
IPA?
good for an
Yeah.
IPA for you. Yeah. I think
It might
I'm
be the highest IPA she's ever graded. I'm
might
thinking
be.
it is.
Well, no. Cherry
Oh yeah,
Cherry
no,
IPA
yeah.
from Perrin has, I think, maybe my highest. But this is pretty
We've had just raspberry IPAs, and you get too much hop. Even as someone who appreciates hop, you get too much hop. I think that third ingredient, which I will not refer to now,
good. Top 3 times.
helps cut into that, and I'm giving this a 9. It's getting 9 cream-filled raspberries from me.
Ooh, gross.
I don't know what you're talking about,
Gross.
Nate.
I would never accept cream-filled raspberries from you.
What a weird thing to say to your
That is
wife.
No.
No, you know what? I think that's a fair, like, especially from him. No.
Fair assessment.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give this an 8. I think
Okay.
it's well deserved. It's really good.
8 what?
The things you said.
Mine was better.
We're counting that as a win.
Cream-filled
No. All right. We're going back to the chapter now. We'll be back right after this. Hi, everybody. We're back.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Ron.
I'm so glad that you're still here.
Thank you.
Yeah, well. So, greetings are exchanged with the hunters, and Kara and tells everybody that Zed and Anne are to the southeast. So they decide to go to the northwest because fuck that, we're not doing that right now.
Yeah, exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
That's a message.
Hopefully they get it. We'll find out.
Yeah.
They do run into Chan.
Mm-hmm.
He translates for the hunters, who let them know that they did not see the chicken killer. Junie is the one who missed cursing about the whole situation. Apparently, he didn't see it, but he heard things happening, and so he feels upset because he was maybe closest. I don't know, but exactly.
And like he said, it's okay because he yelled a lot. You know, he yelled at the thing that might have killed the chicken, he thinks, because he didn't see it, so he doesn't know for sure, but he did yell a lot.
So he was the guy saying that he was the one that just missed whatever it was.
Right.
Okay.
And it feels like there'd be more follow-up from Richard on that. Like, you were the guy that it was close to. Richard, do you have any questions? No follow-ups from Richard.
I guess actually I do have a follow-up. Then why didn't you pick up the chicken?
Yeah.
If you found it there, like, take care of it.
Or something.
I don't know. There's something weird about that.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I feel like Richard has more follow-up. But I think I know what killed the chicken. Because around this time in the book, we were told that there are also goats at the camp.
Ah.
Which means a mutilated chicken, it's a chupacabra. Chupacabra couldn't get to the goats, so it went after a chicken.
So got a chicken.
Yep.
It's got to be.
Every single sign that I see is pointing to the chupacabra.
Okay. I know nothing about chupacabras. I'm going to be straight up. Know nothing. I know it's a mystical thing that may or may not exist.
It does.
Okay.
Didn't we talk about chupacabras on a side quest at one point? I think we might have.
I don't know if we did.
My memory
I
does
know.
not serve me in this moment if we did.
I'll have to go back and see.
Hey, you people, let us know if we did.
I am wondering, I do think maybe that Kara was like the inner circle of protection, right?
Yes.
So she was closer to the spirit house. So I'm wondering if Junie didn't necessarily see the chicken be hurt. Like he heard something and then he was out in the woods or somewhere, outer ring, and maybe heard something move but didn't see what it was.
Yeah.
So he
Heard a
didn't
ruckus.
so he didn't necessarily so I feel like Richard maybe could have asked more questions about where were you exactly, what did you experience, but I don't know that it was his responsibility to take care of the chicken.
Okay. Those are the exact follow-ups I thought we were going to get from Richard, and again, got none. So it's like, oh, well, where'd it go? Where were you stationed? It went this way? Was it coming or going? Both?
Well, he's real focused on getting his back washed.
Yeah.
And it was a hawk, okay?
Look, that's it. Sure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep moving.
Never have
On
I
that
believed
assumption.
anything more fervently. Sure. Yep. Yeah, okay. That's what it was.
So they keep it trucking, and they end up spotting the Birdman. They move over to greet him and the other elders who are still chilling after last night. Nobody's really gone to bed yet because that party was real great.
They party hard.
Yeah, everybody was drinking and having a good time. You probably don't have that much, like, they don't have that many celebrations like that. So you take advantage of it when you can.
It does come up a couple of times between Richard and Kaylin when they're talking to each other, like, I don't know, maybe he's just a little drunk. Like, because of last night being the party, it's just like everybody is just maybe a little off today.
Well, also, for a second, I was like, well, it's like 11 a.m., I think. So it is wild that they're still awake, but these are old men. So the chances are these guys took naps throughout the night.
Oh, yeah.
In their chairs.
They
and
passed out 3 times each.
They've gone to sleep and woken up and kept drinking multiple times.
As a man in my 30s, I've had hangovers last all day. So there have been days where it's just like, look, nothing's getting done today. We are just laying here.
They're the wise old men who know that you can't get a hangover if you don't stop drinking.
That's the hair of the dog.
There you go.
Hey, are you hungover? Worse. What do you mean worse? I'm still drunk. It's 9 a.m. I've been at work for an hour and I just realized not hungover, still drunk.
I do think it is fucking annoying, like, that the idea that they're going for like a 3-hour walk to go take a bath is kind of asinine with all the important stuff to happen, but they just want to go take a bath real quick and they keep getting fucking stuck. So, like, as quick as it could be, it's taking even longer because you can't get out of the village without being stopped 20 fucking times.
I feel like that would be the thing is like, oh, hey, good morning. Oh, good morning to you. Hey, we smell.
Yeah.
We smell, so we're going to go take a bath. Oh, you're still talking? Well, we are walking away because, again, we smell.
Do you smell the sex?
Yeah.
Do you smell the him on me? Because I do.
Then this
him
is
on, in, around.
This is their victory walk. Now they have to walk to the lake to wash all that stank off them.
Yeah, instead of, they're not walking a shaman, they're walking a famin.
Right. Oh, yeah. This is their opportunity to tell everybody that they got to go wash.
Yeah. Which would be rude, but apparently everyone else is cool with it. Everyone they talk to is just like, yeah, let's sit and chat.
Yeah.
You guys got a stank about you that I kind of like. So
would you
pull
think
up
this
a squat.
would be generally understood? These people sat and watched guard over you last night so you could do the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it should be part of the regular ritual to, like, the next morning, everybody's waiting outside the door and then they just have like a nice guided path.
Quick,
all
good game.
the way down to the, they'll slap on the butt on your way down to the lake. And then you'd be like, okay, now to business. Instead of making them like fight for privacy.
Can I say something? I think I want to party with the mud people.
I think it would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think I want to get drunk with the Birdman.
Give me that frog.
Well, all 3 of the elders are in their cups. Even though the mud people usually, they don't get fucked up on the general. So this is like a special occasion type thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, we've discussed this. Everyone's still fucking in their clothes. The fires are still going. It's still popping off. One of them tells Kaylin that they shouldn't take too long at the springs because it's going to rain despite the clear sky. Which I would trust them kind of, but I don't even trust the weatherman usually because he lies to me all the time.
Well, then it's like, give specifics then. Is it going to rain now? Because I don't think so. It's blue sky. Or are you saying it's going to rain 8 hours from now? I might believe that. I realize that things can change over an 8-hour time frame. That sunny goes to cloudy in that time.
I forget the rule. They did mention that they use the way the grass moves to kind of help make predictions about what the weather is going to do, which is kind of science. If it is. I was going to say
there
if you squint at it,
science to it. Yes.
Maybe not all the tools and tech we have now, but there was a rule. My dad's buddy used to be really big into fishing, and he used to say something that if you can see the cloud, then it is X amount of hours away. Like anything that you can see with your eye on that horizon is automatically this far away from you in terms of hours because you're on the lake. So like by the time you see the cloud, if it's going to take you some hours to get to the shore, you need to leave now to avoid a storm. And I always thought that was interesting. So then the guy's like, hey, it's going to rain, which means it's within that amount of hours. I think maybe it's 6, but I could be wrong.
Now listen, that makes sense to me that they would, I mean, that, well, they aren't watching fucking TV. So, like, if the clouds are out there.
This is what they do all day.
Yeah, someone's going to notice the clouds and be like, oh, it rained. Now, the interesting thing is, do these people measure time in increments like hours at all? Like,
true. We know Kalen and Richard do because
Right.
they reference that, hey, this is going to be like I think they do at least, that it's going to be like, hey, it's like an hour away. So it's 3 hours to get back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the mud people have ever said time references.
and I mean, I'm sure they have their own time references.
Sure.
It's interesting that they would have their own. Yeah.
The sun.
Probably, yeah.
By the time the sun is this high in the sky, that I think somebody has said that in the book.
Yeah.
So it's probably not hours like you're saying,
Yeah.
but they do measure.
When the sun is at
Yeah,
its
they're still
peak.
measuring time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's so there's like a certain amount of just being like, yeah, okay, it's gonna rain at some point. I understand. That's as close as we are gonna get
Oh yeah.
to understanding each other on when it's gonna fucking rain.
Yeah.
Well, it could be if it's the 6 hours thing. If it's noon now, then by the time the sun is 45 degrees. I don't know
Yeah,
how any of
yeah.
this works, but by the time it's that low, then so it's just like watching a kitchen timer. Like by the time it hits here, those clouds will be here.
Yeah, and I mean you're taking a 3-hour fucking walk, so chances are you're gonna get doused.
But that's
Wait,
like,
Ooh, yeah, that's true. How
give
far
time
away it is.
specifics. That's why
Yeah.
it's important to give. It's easy to say it's going to rain if you don't say when,
Yeah.
because then you're always right. It does rain eventually.
That's true. Keep it vague,
I mean,
baby
yeah,
boy.
a little bit, but I guess me and Nate actually got caught on the river in the rain
Ooh,
Yeah,
fun.
we did.
last weekend.
Where were you on that one, Google?
Yeah, I guess
Birdman.
that's where I'm like, maybe we shouldn't give them so much shit because I don't believe the weather people because this fucking Google bitch kept telling us it's gonna end in an hour, and then it would move it back an hour, and then it would move it back, and I was like, "Are you joking?"
The window was opening. It looked better and better and better. We're
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's go today as opposed to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we had a good hour. And then all of a sudden it was just like, no, we're going to fucking thunderstorm rain on you for
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you go from being like it's gonna be clear for the rest of the day to it raining? If you just said maybe it was, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, I've learned somewhat
still fun.
recently, like in the last 12 months, I've started learning this. I don't know if I fully believe it, even though the more I learn about it, the more true it appears. When they say 30% chance of rain, it's not that there's a 30% chance that it will rain or not. They're telling you that in the area they are describing, 30% of that area is going to get rain. And that's wild to me, because how do you know? How do you know where the clouds are going to drop the rain? I feel better if you tell me there's a 30% chance that it's just yes or no.
It's all based off trajectory.
Don't use words like that around me.
Wow.
Don't you dare.
Wow.
Don't use multi-syllable words around
That one had
me.
4.
That one wasn't even that bit like
I know.
trajectory.
I know, that
Wow.
was actually...
Yeah, they just look at the cloud patterns
I know.
and then the,
Dude,
the
get
thing.
your
and then
logic
they-
out of here.
They do the thing.
I knew something for 32 years of my
There are
life,
different types of clouds. That's
and
what
now
I'm
it's
saying.
different.
They should
That's
know
true.
more than me. And that's where I'm gonna end that.
I did want to say, I did learn a cool finger thing.
Gross.
If you want to know how much time there is till sundown, so now this is a thing of like, you have to know that it's afternoon or, after peak, but each digit on your hand is 15 minutes. So if you're holding your hand up sideways, tuck that thumb down below, hold it up sideways. So you're looking at all 4 fingers at once. You go from the bottom of the sun to the horizon and each digit is 15 minutes.
No shit.
So your hand is roughly an hour, and that will get you a rough estimate of how long you have till sundown.
You should know this, Pirate Nate.
Yeah, Pirate Nate.
I fucking should know.
You
this.
probably
You're right.
did. You probably heard that multiple times, and it just never registered. I learned it from Man vs. Wild, though.
This is one of those opportunities where I would like to say that, yeah, I probably knew it and forgot it, but I'm sure that's the first time I've ever heard that.
If you did know it and forgot it, though, then you did know it. You just forgot.
And now I just learned it because that's what happens on this podcast. Speaking of podcasts,
Schooled.
Hey, Jade, where were we?
The Birdman.
The Birdman.
He's staring out at a group of chickens. He beckons Kaylin close, pointing at one of them, and he says something that makes her stand straight up. She doesn't want to translate it in case he's just drunk talking.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back to just bobbing his head to the drums, which is interesting because he says this and then is just like chill about it, right? And he says it to Kaylin, and she thinks he might be drunk talking, but it also creeps her out a whole lot. It doesn't seem to be creeping Birdman out.
No.
Right?
He's totally cool with whatever was said.
Yeah.
He seems to be chill about it.
She does lean back to Richard and tells him that the Birdman said that chicken is not a chicken.
Which, again, should lead to just a shitload of follow-ups, but I do know the answer.
What's the answer?
I know what the thing is if it's not a chicken. It's a drone because birds are not real.
Oh, my God. No.
That is a drone that has been sent to surveil the mud people.
Oh, shit.
And that's look, the Birdman's in on it. He's removed from society enough that he is able to see the truth. And that no bird has ever once been real.
So what you're saying is our beloved Birdman is the equivalent to Lucius Fox in The Dark Knight?
Yes.
So he can just watch everybody with his army of birds?
He could, but he, like Lucius Fox, except better than Lucius Fox, choose never to do that because that's immoral. And he's the Birdman, not because he likes birds, but it's because he's on the lookout for birds and he's onto them.
I do have to ask you, Aaron, I'm very curious because I know you've maybe read just a little bit farther, like the next chapter or so.
Maybe.
But I know for a fact you haven't read far enough to know what it might be if it's not a chicken.
Yeah, I just told you.
That's what you think it is?
No, this does. I did get vibes of like Skinwalkers. Like it's like, oh, it's a creature. I don't think it's a human, but it has taken the form of a chicken currently. And the Birdman, being a man of birds, can recognize that's not exactly a chicken. It is a chicken, but it's not a chicken.
Something's going on with that chicken.
In the way that, like, if I put on a costume, I'm not the thing I'm pretending to be, but I kind of am.
Like Ace Ventura when he climbs out of the rhino.
Yeah, he was both rhino and not rhino at the same time.
That rhino's not a rhino. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
You know what? That's exactly what it is. Actually, that is Jim Carrey in a chicken suit. That is what he just pointed out.
I would love to see that comic art.
That is my prediction moving forward.
You're right. That is definitely not a chicken, my
Nailed
guy.
it. Yeah.
It is very interesting that he's just like, it's not a chicken, and then just goes back to bobbing his head. and that Kaylin is so like creeped about it, but doesn't ask for follow-up.
None.
Yeah, because if you say something like that chicken, he doesn't actually say that chicken's not a chicken. He goes, that one there is not a chicken, which is admittedly a little creepier for me because he says it that way. But then he goes back to, like you said, just bobbing his head to the music. So it's like, okay, that's not a chicken, sure. But then he also kind of implies there's no reason to worry that it's not a chicken. So what gives? Why did then you feel the need to tell me that very clearly a chicken is not a chicken?
And I know that Kaylin's creeped out because we just had the chicken incident outside their house. Right?
Chicken incident?
Everyone knows about the cock splatter.
That's an album name right there.
Yeah.
The chicken incident.
But it is funny to me that because if a drunk person did like lean over to me and be like, that one there, not a chicken, and then start bobbing their head.
You know what?
I mean, inherently, I don't feel like I would be creeped.
I gotta change my answer.
And if I was creeped, I feel like I would ask follow-up questions. So it is just like a funny little moment that she's like, oh shit, it's not.
Well, and it's one thing if you just pass a random dude on the street and unannounced, he elbows you and goes, that ain't a squirrel. You're probably just going to carry about your day. But this is a wise man who knows of magical things or knows of things that are not of this world potentially. And if he says something like that, I'm asking follow-ups at the least. One follow-up is all I would ask of them.
If someone nudges me on the street and tells me that squirrel's not a squirrel, I'm at least watching the squirrel for a while.
Well, yeah, but
I won't ask follow-ups to a stranger, but I'm watching the squirrel. I'm not leaving to go take a bath. We're monitoring the squirrel now.
Yeah, I'm for sure not leaving to go get naked in the wilds later. Like, I'm going to go shower in my home now.
I think this is why it was brought up a few times that they had the party last night.
Yeah.
And that the mud people aren't given to drinking, but then some of them kind of were. And so him saying this as a drunk dude after a party fully makes sense. And now I get why Richard and Kaylin were like, I don't know, maybe he's drunk. That was a little weird, but like, he's the bird man. You know what I mean?
My only problem with that is then why does Kaylin react so surprisingly? Maybe it's like
incident.
Yeah, there's a chicken incident. And maybe it's the one where it's like, well, actually, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, actually, I get what you're saying, because otherwise you'd be like, what is it? Like a rooster?
Yeah.
Is it technically a hen? Is this that one of those where we're going?
Technically correct situations?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a chicken. It's a hen.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't identify that.
You're right.
Today.
If that's what she kind of thought it was, she wouldn't react with such like fear.
Hey, we'll find out soon.
Not this chapter.
Because
that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of gone over all of our wizards' notes and prophecies. So that's our truth. And we would love to hear yours. Please write into your journey books to podcastatt@gmail.com or find us on any of our social medias. If you would like to support this podcast and hear some more silky smooth content, please find us over on patreon.com/podcastatt, where every tier is a happy tier.
Happy tier.
That's all for us, friends.
Thank you very much for listening. I will see you real soon.
Bye.
Also, the birds are drones, but they are sent by the mole people because they want you to look to the sky, not to the ground.
They want a distraction.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
It is smoke and mirrors. I have more.
No.